Hello and welcome to Movie Poster Chat with Limelight Movie Art. And today I'm just going to spend a few minutes introducing you to one of the more popular formats, one of the more popular sizes of the original movie posters from the States. This is the half sheet. And I've got an example up here behind me, and I'm going to pick up another one just to show you a couple of things about the poster. So the most important thing, I guess, is its size. I'm talking elsewhere about the two more common formats for posters, the quad poster for the UK and the one sheet for the US. And the one sheet US poster measures 27 inches across by 41 inches down. So the half sheet, almost but not quite exactly half the size of that. So its measurements across are 28 inches, so it's 28 inches across, that's 71 centimetres if you want to go metric, and height-wise 22 inches or 56 centimetres. So because film posters were typically measured in and described with reference to imperial measurements, I usually resort to the imperial, so it's 22 inches by 28 inches, and as I say, almost literally half the size of the one sheet. So there are some advantages for this format, which are typically born out of its size. And before mentioning that, just let me say that this is a format that was around since the earliest days of the cinemas, so right from the 1910s, 1920s. This was a standard size to be used in advertising in US theatres. And they were used right up into the 80s, although their popularity dwindled out end of the 70s probably, but throughout the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and most of the 70s, a very popular format. And these were the decades when theatres typically had one screen. It was before we had multiplexes and multi-screens, so there was more room for different sizes of film posters, all advertising the same film. So one advantage is the size, a little bit less space taken up than the one sheet or the quad, and when it's mounted and framed, that's a very nice size to have. It's big enough that you can see it, but not so big that it over dominates, as might be the case if you've got a smaller room that you're displaying in. So the size is an advantage. Also, what's interesting about the half sheet is that quite often a studio would produce two different versions. They'd have a style A and a style B, and one of those often used elements of the artwork that were in the main one sheet poster. The other one may have been quite different artwork, and sometimes you'd have one version, the style A, let's say, would have photographic images, and the style B would be more artwork, caricature, cartoon, but drawn images. So for any particular title, you'll quite often find there's a style A and a style B in the half sheet. So if you're collecting or just like that particular movie, interesting that you can look out for the two different styles and have two quite different posters from the same film. And in keeping with a little bit of Chaplin theme that's run through my chats about the different sizes, here I've got the 1940 original half sheet for The Great Dictator, and like any movie poster, what's it doing? It's doing all the regular stuff you would expect. It's telling you who's in it, it's giving you the title, some more credits and the cast list. Down at the bottom we'll have the copyright details and quite often the NSS number, and this one, it's one of the photographic type posters. So we've got Chaplin here, here and here as the Great Dictator in two of the images, and as the little barber closer to the tramp character in the third over here. And what it's telling you is really important as for an audience at the time. He talks. So 1940, finally 12, 13 years after sound was introduced to the cinema, Chaplin finally made a movie in which he spoke. So Chaplin talks, he talks. That was the big selling point there so far as this poster is concerned. So as I say, 22 inches by 28, roughly half the size of the regular poster. Typically you might find two different versions. Hard to come by because people hold on to them when they get them, and they weren't really produced much beyond the 70s, but a lovely format if you can find it.